بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. صدق الله العظيم. Honorable brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today for us in New Zealand, it's the 6th of ZulHaj for this year 1445. For those who are resident in and around Haramain and who will be performing the Hajj, this morning would be, as we come to our night, this morning will be the 8th of ZulHijjah for them. And this would mean this is Yawm al-Tarwiyah, the day in which they now proceed and move to the plains of and the tents of Mina. So this is indeed a great and auspicious and a symbolic period of the Islamic calendar as we go through these days until we come to the end of Ayyam al-Tashriq and then continue the month of Hajjul-Hijjah. For wherever we are on the globe as believers, this time of the year is a serious and a very, very virtuous time for us. We still have some time before we actually come to the culmination, and that is the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the day in which we do the Udhiyah and the Qurbani. So these are some days in which we can continue to do some form and format of a'mal and good deeds, whether it is in the form of dhikr, tilawah of Quran, some sadaqat and charity, anything that we can from our side do in terms of optional deeds. This is indeed extremely beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you have continuously heard before. You have seen on the social medias, you have heard that the scholars talking about it, the virtue of worship and practice during the course of these days, that is the first 10 days of the month of Dhul Hijjah. And may Allah ta'ala grant us tawfiq and ability to exert ourselves accordingly, inshallah. For those people who were fortunate to undertake the journey of Hajj, Mabruk, and congratulations to them. There is now no longer any more flights that are going. It is now, they had to be there within a period of time in order for them to now proceed today to for the manasik of Hajj. But bulk of the ummah will remain in their localities, in their hometowns. It's only the select few that will be accepted by Allah Ta'ala initially, first, and of course through the immigration and visa system. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to grant us all that opportunity to go for the Hajj. Rasulullah, Allah Ta'ala says, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. And for Allah Ta'ala upon mankind, as a faridah, one of the 5 pillars of Islam in the deen is Hajjul Bayti man istata'a ilayhi sabila. For that person who can afford the journey and fulfill the criterion for the journey once in a lifetime, is this momentous journey, and that is the journey of Hajj, Hajju Baytillah. Those of you who know people on the other side, some people say, Sheikh, what nasiha and advice can we give them? And they come before they go. One simple advice you can give anybody going for Hajj is that when we perform salah now, every other salah we perform after that is equally fard as the one we just left. So Jum'ah now is fard, Asr is fard, Maghrib is fard, Isha is fard, and continue till you die. Hajj is fard only once. So you're going for your fard Hajj, make it count, make it proper. If you are fortunate and accepted by Allah after that to go for 1, 2 more, 3 more Hajj in your lifetime, first of all, that is a great honor. But every other one will be a nafil. Every other one will be a nafil. Only one is fard. So be cautious of this here. This is one piece of advice you can give a Haji. And if you have connections with anybody who's on that side, who's gone for Hajj, share the simple advice with them. That this is your fard Hajj. It's only fard once. It doesn't repeat itself again. Make sure we fulfill all the necessary criterion for whilst we are there, and make it count. Make it a Hajj Mabrur. But then Rasulullah ﷺ said, so Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu asked him, Ya Rasulullah, which is the most virtuous deeds? So Hajj is amongst those lofty deeds of Islam. He said, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Iman billah, believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the highest of the high. Then he said, Jihad fi sabilillah, going out and giving the supreme sacrifice. Then he was asked, which one after? Some riwayat alternate between birrul walidain, that is obedience and good relations and kindness with our parents. And some riwayat bring hajjun mabrurun before that. So these are amongst the lofty deeds of Islam. These are amongst the highest ranking activities of our faith. So Iman, Jihad fi sabilillah, Hajjun Mabrur and Birrul Walidain. But for bulk of the Ummah, it's not always a reality and a possibility that you are able to go for the Hajj. Because financially, it is extremely difficult. And we used to complain about it 4 years ago. Before the COVID hit us, the $10,000 was really expensive. Across in other places of the world, much, much cheaper. And COVID became a good excuse for the system to flip. And what was 10,000 became 22,000, and then went to 25,000, now it's 26,000, and it's ever increasing. So there has to be a plan of action in our mind, in our financial planning, so that we are able to, at some point in time, inshallah, in our lifetime, and we plan actively, we have a niyyah and we plan for our Hajj. And if that niyyah is sincere, and if the plan behind it is correct and sincere, and there is some sacrifice, and you'll see Allah Ta'ala will make it into a reality. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala make it easy for us. What do we do if we can't go for Hajj? And look at the beauty of the deen is so simple and easy. The beauty of the deen is that there's always reward for us. There's always reward for us. Like Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, that person who will recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times, he'll get the reward of reciting the whole Quran. It can never equate reciting the entire Quran physically. It can never be the same. Physically completing the recitation of the whole Quran has its rewards, and it will be multiplied by 10 times, etc. But for if we want a quick reward, then reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times, and we'll get the reward of reciting the whole Quran. So in this fashion, like this year, there are some activities and some actions of our deen, if we do, we will get the reward of Hajj. And many people will not be able to complete the Hajj during the entire lifetime. And Allah is not zalim. Allah is not unjust. Allah's kindness, Allah's rahmah. So Allah has given us opportunities to be able to secure those rewards as well. Yes, it can never equate the physical Hajj, which is, as we said, amongst the lofty deeds, the highest of our amal, but at least we can have a share in the rewards. This we can have a share in the reward. So each and every one of us should, and we must strive on a daily basis to be able to, secure some of these rewards. I'll go through a few of them, and see how in our daily lives we can be achieving the reward of Hajj. So to begin with, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the hadith, beautiful hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in Abu Dawud, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, that person who leaves his home, man kharaja min baytihi mutatahira, he is in the condition of tahara. On a side note, the wudu facility that is made in any masjid is a convenience for those people who are traveling. But if you're coming for your home, you should be making your wudu from before time and coming to the masjid. Don't place that financial and water burden on the collective community. You do it at home first. It is a sad situation that people will leave the water bill at home and come to make it in the masjid, so that to save a few pennies at home. That is an incorrect teaching. It's incorrect understanding. You make every hadith that talks of coming to the masjid, talks of wudu first at home and then come to the masjid. So this is a facility of the modern era, that they made a facility in the masjid, for people who are coming from work and travel. Okay, you can do your wudu quickly. It's not designed and put into place so that you can conveniently leave your water bill at home and come and make wudu in the masjid, so the ummah is paying for your wudu. No, it doesn't work like that. Anyway, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Man kharaja min bayti mutatahir, who leaves his house in tahara, and he comes to the house of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. For what purpose? Ila salatin maktubatin, to a fard salah. And how many fard salah we have? 5 daily fards we have. 5 daily faraid we have. So Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib and Isha. That person who leaves his home in the condition of wudu and he comes to the masjid for any fard salah, not only Jumu'ah, not Fajr, Isha, any fard salah, subhanallah. Make sure the intention is correct. Rasulullah said, فَأَجْرُهُ كَأَجْرِ الْحَاجِ الْمُحْرِمِ. Then his reward is like the reward of a haji who's in ihram. It will never equate the physical action of Hajj, but we'll have a share in the reward as well. For many people, many of the ummah, what percentage can we give? 80% perhaps of the entire ummah collectively will never be able to make Hajj for many multiple reasons throughout their lifetime. But Allah has given us substitute to get a share in the reward as a Haji as well. Subhanallah. Any salah, fard salah, Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, come from home, make wudu specifically with that intention, besides the many other rewards that are also there. This one speaks specifically of Hajj. He will get a reward like the Haji who's in Ihram. The same hadith talks of that person who leaves his home in the condition of wudu and he comes to the masjid. In this riwayah talks of for Salatul Duha. Salatul Duha, mid-morning or early morning. Starts all the way from the time of Ishraq all the way to mid-morning. So during that time of the day, normally you are in work and other things. Person came from his home and he has come specifically for that purpose. لا ينصبه إلا إياه. That nothing gives him tiredness and nothing is holding that person back in the masjid besides this Salatul Duha. Then his reward is like the person who is doing an Umrah. Subhanallah. Simple and easy. Let me give you another one which is in the same hadith. وَصَلَاتٌ عَلَى إِثْرِ صَلَاتٍ. One salah which is followed by another salah in between which there is no laghu taking place. You know, one of the reasons why we make our Asr salah a little bit later, to facilitate for those people to come to the masjid and stay in the masjid is 55 minutes to an hour. Perform your Asr salah, remain in the masjid, do tilawat of Quran, read your Isha salah, and your Maghrib salah. It becomes easy for people. We don't have to travel up and down to home. One salah to the next salah without which there is laghu in between. So it means there's no dunyawi talk and there's no worldly talk and chatter. You came to the masjid, you did one salah. I'm using the example of Asr because it's simple, it's short. You read your Asr salah, you sat in the masjid, you did tilawat of Quran, made some dhikr, did some dua, and then was Maghrib salah. In between, you didn't speak to anybody, no laghu taking place. And then you did your Maghrib salah. Kitabun fil illiyin. This is not going to be recorded in your normal books of deeds. This is going to be recorded in the illiyin books of deeds. The high ranking, the high flyers, the gold club, platinum club. That's where this reward is going to be recorded for us. Look at the mercies of Allah Ta'ala, and Allah Ta'ala freely gives us reward. We just have to make a small effort for that, and Allah Ta'ala gives it to us. So that is one, coming to the masjid for any fard salah. Another way we can achieve the rewards of Hajj, Rasulullah ﷺ said, the hadith in Tirmidhi, hadith Hasan Gharib, Sayyidina Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu said, Rasulullah ﷺ said, that person who performs Fajr Salah in the masjid, then he remains in the masjid in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and after the time of Ishraq, or after the sun rises, he performs 2 rakats of Ishraq Salah. Then for that person is قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثم صلى ركعتين كانت له كأجر حجة وعمرة. He will receive a reward of 1 Hajj and 1 Umrah. And then in the same riwayat he said, the Rawi says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تامة تامة تامة. 3 times, a completed Hajj, a completed Hajj, a completed Hajj, a completed Umrah, a completed Umrah, 3 times. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, how it is? Fajr Salah in Jama'ah in the masjid, not in our bistar and bed. And then we wait in the masjid for Ishraq. When the sun rises, we perform 2 rakats Salatul Ishraq. And thereafter do what we have to do for the rest of the day. You'll receive the reward of 1 Hajj and 1 Umrah which is completed. Allah Ta'ala has given us opportunities. Yes, so for some of us, we may never see the Hajj, the physical Hajj. But we will be able to do it on a daily basis, inshallah. Allah grant us tawfiq. Abu Umama radiallahu anhu says the hadith in Tabarani, Mustadrak Hakim, that person who goes to the masjid either to acquire knowledge or to teach knowledge. Either to acquire knowledge or to teach knowledge. كان له كأجر حاج تاما حجته. For that person is a reward of a haji whose hajj is completed. Whose hajj is completed. You go to the masjid to acquire knowledge or to teach knowledge. Subhanallah. Again, these are things we can do on a daily basis. See how shaitan has moved our compass away from Allah Ta'ala and away from the masjid to the dunya. But the deen wants to bring us closer and back to the masjid, the house of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and back to Allah Azza wa Jal. You know the famous virtue that people talk of all the time, and that is if you make hajj or you make umrah in the month of Ramadan, then you will receive the reward as though you made hajj with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You will receive the reward as though you made hajj with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That is for umrah in Ramadan. So yes, 26,000 may be expensive and we might not be able to achieve that goal, but we may be able to afford the umrah. If we save up a few pennies here and there, cut down on our weekend food and stuff like that, and leisurely trips, and save up, we will be able to do umrah inshallah. And if we strive to do this umrah in the month of Ramadan, then we will receive the reward as if we are making hajj with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there are many and multiple rewards. Allah Ta'ala grant us tawfiq. Reciting 100 times Subhanallah morning and evening. Morning and evening. من سبح الله 100 بالغداة والعشي. Who says the tasbih of Allah Ta'ala, that is Subhanallah, 100 times in the morning and 100 times in the evening, then for that person also is كَانَ كَمَنْ حَجَّ 100 مرة. It is as if you have made hajj 100 times. It may sound simple, it may sound easy, but as we sit here now, ask yourself who's doing it. Perhaps maybe 2-3 few people may be doing it. Illa mashallah, those special servants of Allah Azza wa Jal. We are too caught up in our world. We are too caught up in the race of life that these a'mal just leave us and we forget of them. We don't give attention to these a'mal. Subhanallah. And again, how simple and easy it is for us. So morning and evening, tasbih of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala 100 times. The hadith we shared right in the beginning, what did Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said? Amongst the lofty deeds and the high a'mal of the deen is birrul walidain. So a person came to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Sin Anas is the rawi of the hadith. A person came to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I wish to go in jihad fi sabilillah. I wish to go in for the supreme sacrifice, give my life in the cause of Allah Ta'ala. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked him that, is any one of your parents alive? He said, yes. Then he said, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, go and show Allah how you will serve your parents, and for you, فَإِذَا فَعَلْتَ ذَلِكَ فَأَنْتَ حَاجٌ وَمُعْتَمِرٌ وَمُجَاهِدٌ. If you do this here, then you are like the Haji, and you are like the one who's in Umrah, and you are like the one who's in Jihad fi sabilillah. Birrul walidain. Again, Birrul walidain, remember the one riwayat talks of Birrul walidain first, and then Hajj Mabrur, some of them reverse the order around. So serving or being kind and obedient and serving our parents, this is equivalent to a Hajj, this is equivalent to an Umrah, this is equivalent to a Jihad fi sabilillah. And there are many and multiple rewards. Ibn Hajar al-Asqari rahmatullah alayhi has made mention of so many others which we have here, we don't have time to go through them. The message is simple and easy. We always say this and we'll continue to remind ourselves that we must have an intention and a plan for our Hajj during the course of our lifetime. And similarly, inculcate this thought and this intention in the minds and hearts of our children so that there can be some level of financial planning so that inshallah they also will be able to do the Hajj. And likewise Umrah. Another hadith we shared with you many times before as well. Rasulullah said, تابعوا بين الحج والعمرة فإنهما ينفيان الفقر والذنوب كما ينفي الكير خبث الحديد أو كما قال عليه السلام. That follow up your Hajj and your Umrahs one after the other with frequency in between. Don't leave a big gap in between. So بين الحج والعمرة تابعوا. Frequently go for Hajj and Umrah and have this action, this plan of action to go for Hajj and Umrah continuously, because this will eradicate and this will remove from your life two things: poverty and sin. Poverty and sin. We're always looking for can we become financially secure? There's the prophetic prescription there. Go for Hajj, go for Umrah. Allah will certainly replace that funds for you. Allah will bring that funds back to you. I know of many people who have sold their cars and they've gone for Hajj. They didn't have a plan when they're going to come back, how they're going to commute. But they said, look, they'll sell the car, we'll see when we come back. That's seeing Allah Ta'ala does it for you. Your plan was to go for Hajj. When they came back, Allah replaced that vehicle for them. Subhanallah. It is just a simple conveyance to go from place A to place B. You might have a few days of struggle here and there, but eventually Allah Ta'ala will make that and open the door for you out. Because this is the promise of the Lord. This is the promise of Allah Ta'ala. And this is the promise of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And we must have yaqeen on this here. So may Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala grant us tawfiq and ability of understanding. Our Eid Salah on Tuesday will be at 8:30 a.m. Eid Salah on Tuesday will be at 8:30 a.m. Monday will be the 9th of ZulHaj, which is known as Yawm Arafah for us here. And this is a day in which we are advised to fast. Prophetic hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Inni ahtasibu ala Allah. He says, I have great hope in Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. The fasting on the 9th of ZulHaj will expiate the sins of the previous year and the year to come. Will expiate the sins of the previous year and the year to come. That only deed in Islam in which the reward of expiation is not for the past sins, it's a credit balance for the year to come as well. For any minor sins that may potentially take place. You don't even know you're going to live for the whole year, but you've already put yourself in a credit with Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala in terms of kafaratul dhunub. So this is something which we should make an effort, real effort to fast on this day. We know that fasting is not an easy action, but nowadays our days are the shortest of the year at the moment as we stand today. So on Monday, inshallah, we should try to fast for the sake of Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala with this intention that this serves as a kafara and an expiation for the year's sins before and the sins that may come potentially in the year to come, 1446. May Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala grant us tawfiq and ability of understanding. In the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there was no media coverage. There was no internet, there was no WhatsApp, there was no social media, there was no Viber, nothing. So those people who were living at a distance, they would not know on which day is Arafah for people in Makkah Mukarramah and which day is Arafah for them. They only knew the Arafah and they only knew the Eid day where they were staying in. Today, because of media, we know Arafah is on this day or that day for people in Makkah Mukarramah. That has nothing to do with us. Arafah for them is on the 9th. And Arafah for us is the day of the 9th. So the 9th of ZulHijjah marks Yawm Arafah. It's known as Yawm Arafah. So we shouldn't be confused with the differences of the date. Perhaps this year we might even have 3 Eids, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. Subhanallah. So you follow the scholars and the ulama that you have trust in, and more importantly follow the Jumhur scholars. That is the majority of this bank of ulama that lean towards a certain ruling in any masala of deen. That will be the correct inshallah, because Yadullahi ma'al jama'ah. So for us the Yawm Arafah is on the 9th, we should be on Monday, and inshallah on Tuesday will be the 10th, 8:30 will be Eid Salah. May Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala grant us all tawfiq and all acceptance inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.